All right, what is going on? This is Mike with All About Pressure Washing, and I have got a special guest on today. Many of you guys watch Joe Deery from Powerful Improvements right here on YouTube. If you don't subscribe to him, go over there to his channel. I'm going to put a link down below in the description so you can go over there, check out his videos, lots of great content, and definitely subscribe and follow him. He is a great guy, and he has a great story. And I wanted to bring him on here today because one of the last videos that he posted was talking about growth, scaling, adding another trailer for the coming season. And I wanted to talk to him kind of about how he started, what his plans are for the future. You guys could pick up some great information, some tips and things from him. But before we get into that, there's a link below for more information on the Next Level course, which is the comprehensive guide to scaling your business to 6 figures. We just added a second option for how you guys can get that course. And I think it's going to open the doors for a lot of guys out there. And I'm really excited about that. But let's talk to Joe.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I've been watching your channel for, some time now. And it's fun to see a different perspective on things, a different region of the country. And, from what I've seen, you guys do a lot of the same things that, everybody else does. But I've seen that you do a lot of gutter cleaning. It looks like you do a lot of roof cleaning as well. But before we talk about like the stuff, I want to hear your story about how you got started in the pressure washing world.
Yeah, so it kind of happened. I think it's same as it happens for a lot of guys. It kind of happened by accident for me, really. I've always had some kind of side hustle going. And one of the things that we do in my neighborhood is snow removal. So, I went out and got myself some nice equipment, nice snow blower, all the tools we need to break ice dams out of gutters and stuff like that. And we're basically servicing our local neighborhood, me and my kids. And I got 3 kids. They're all, teenagers at this point. So I bring them out with me in the wintertime and, we shovel and snow blow and whatever. And I said to the kids, I said, you know what? I'm going to save my money, my third of the money this year. And I'm going to buy a power washer and we're going to try to, have a little side hustle for the summer power washing and see how that goes. And the funny thing in our house, everyone's got their little household anecdotes or whatever. My wife said to me, that's never going to take off. And she has eaten her words repeatedly since then because, I bought a little 2.5 gallon per minute Simpson machine and did a few, friends and family, neighbors, whatnot. And it just took right off and people got the hang of it. I started knocking on doors, handing out homemade flyers. It was just very, very grassroots, very generic. I went to Walmart and bought myself a couple, white T-shirts and some iron-ons, and I made my logoed shirts right away, homemade business cards. And we just hit the street knocking on doors. And we did it part-time because I still had a full-time job. I was a mortgage broker for 15 years. And we washed 211 houses our first year.
That's great.
Yeah. So it was thrilling to be able to do that.
And so this is your 3rd season, right?
Yeah, this is wrapping up my 3rd season. So, I started in March of, I always get this math a little wrong. But it was March of 2019 I started. So 9 months in the first season was part-time.
Right.
Got to the end of that first season around November. And I said to my wife, we need to do this full time. And she had been looking at the numbers and she's like, yeah, go for it. So we bought the pickup truck, lettered the pickup truck. And I was still hucking stuff in the back of the truck at the beginning of my 2nd season. I still only had the 2.5 gallon machine. And, bought the 4 gallon belt drive, made myself a wooden skid, put a wooden shelf on the rail, got some hose reels. And last year it took right off. I think we did 370 something projects. I always say projects because not just houses, because we do gutter cleaning and,
yeah, sure.
Whatever. So we did 370 something projects last year and that just blew up. So then at the beginning of this season, I upgraded again. We got electric hose reels. Better tanks. I bought a proportioner. I upgraded to a 5.5 belt drive machine. And, I just keep putting money back in. I think that's the key to helping your one man, one truck, which is what we are, kind of business grow.
Absolutely right.
Every week I would put something back in. Even when I was the 2.5 gallon, I had the minivan with a little tiny landscape trailer. I'd go to Lowe's. Everything was from Lowe's. I'd go to Lowe's and buy another 50 feet of hose or buy another garden hose or buy a turbo nozzle. Every week I was putting something back in and just adding it, adding. And
right. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that is something that I think a lot of folks fail to do when they're first starting up, right? And
Yeah.
and it's not just about scaling to get bigger, right? It's reinvesting in your business, in your future, because the better you're equipped, the more likely you are to be more efficient, to be more proficient, to be more professional, in and out quicker. You're making more money. So yeah, that is a great takeaway.
Yeah, definitely. It makes your life easier. So I'm always looking at, like, where am I wasting footsteps? Where's my energy waste? Not only cost, but at the end of the day, what has broken me down for the day? Like, you can,
Right.
you can only wash just so many houses, um, without killing yourself. So, the electric hose reels made a huge difference for me physically this year. It's not any faster, but at the end of the day, I'm not as broken. Uh,
Right.
so we're always looking at that. And so then my other issue now this year is that I'm constantly running out of water, or how do I scale up to get bigger projects or whatever. So now I went out and bought that dual axle trailer with a 325 tank, and we're building out a
Right.
trailer, which for now is going to be, just an auxiliary thing for us so that we can land some of these bigger projects. Or I have a lot of realtor relationships from my past mortgage broking career, right? So
Right.
these properties that are foreclosed or have been sitting for a while don't have water turned on. I need to be able to go wash them. So
Sure.
on the occasion that happens, drag the trailer.
Well, you just made a great point. I got a question about that. You're leveraging your relationships from the past. You were a mortgage broker, so clearly every interaction was with a homeowner and a realtor, or two realtors.
That's correct.
So you must have had a decent sized prospect list, whether it was emails, phone numbers. How did you leverage that?
Right. So I get that question a lot on my channel. Guys will say, you seem to be busy all the time. How are you getting business? And there's not, for me, there's not like one canned answer. Like, you can't say, well, it's because of this.
Right.
Because of your lifetime of relationships and networks that you've made. I'm going on 53 years old. I got 3 kids in the school system. I've had a lifetime to make good relations and meet different people. And I've sat on different boards in the town, and just, you have to go back through those lists and talk to those people and let everybody know what you're doing,
Right.
And I think, in order to be successful in anything you do, you really got to drill down on it, focus, and be all about it all the time. And once people within your network know what you're doing, if you've made good relationships through your lifetime, you get these referrals, like this ripple effect that you create that you don't even understand. You don't see the ripple. People are referring you, they don't even know, because of the good things you've done through your life to get here.
Right.
So it's not just start a business, run Facebook ads, boom, you're busy all the time. That's not how it works. Or at least that's not how it worked for me. I do yard signs, networking, sometimes I advertise in local paper. I do, the yard sale sites, or mom sites, they call them, on Facebook, do a little bit of generic advertising there.
Right. And I, one of the things that I talk about quite often is you have to have a diversified approach to your marketing. Just like you said, it's not just one thing. You got to have, tentacles like an octopus out everywhere, trying to grab those customers and bring them into you, get them into your funnel. It's absolutely key.
Right. You get 1 or 2 from each source per week, and then you've got 10 projects.
Right. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
And then the other thing that I liked is, and something that I've got that I hear from other folks, is market for where you're at. Right. And you had said when you first started, you did it grassroots, right? I mean, obviously you had some connections from your past career, but you were making homemade flyers, and you were going, passing those out, right? Like, you don't have to have some huge ad spend when you first start out. You can start it with almost, with a shoestring budget, and go out there and build. That's what's so great about this industry. And if you put in the hard work and you put in the effort, it's going to pay dividends. I mean, you're living proof of this. My business is proof of this. And there are so many guys out there that have created, a great life based on spraying some water and spraying some bleach, which is something that I just love.
That's it. A little bit of hustle goes a long way. I think that, especially in today's world, where the perspective is that people don't want to work. If you show up, if you're someone that has a little hustle, it gets recognized pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely. And how many times are you out there and your customers ask you for referrals on A, B, and Z, right? Because you're doing a good job. They trust you and they want you to, feed them some guys that are, like you.
Yep.
Just assuming that and these are other relationships that we can leverage. Painters and
Yep.
whoever, whether it's a handyman or if any service that
Yep.
you don't offer.
No, I do. I get that like on every project. I do the final walk around with a client and they'll say, do you know anyone who points the chimney, or you know when I can realign that gutter, this and that. And when I first got into the business, because I was trying to get rolling, I wound up in the trap of
I
doing
can do it.
right. I can do it, try to make a little money. And then
Right.
within the first few months, I realized that I'm not making any money doing that handyman stuff. The real money for me is to drill down on power washing. So I heard a good analogy. Like a year ago, a guy told me, you need to dig a deeper trench, not a wider trench. And that really resonated with me. Like, you really need to dig deep, straight down into what you're doing and offer only one or two or three services. So we're roof washing, gutter cleaning, and house washing. And that's it. I won't straighten a gutter. And I'm not trying to be a prima donna about it, but I can't waste my time. I can do other things that are so much more valuable that I'm really actually good at.
Right.
Instead of doing something that's outside of my skill set.
Yeah. And that's, finding your niche
Yep.
and finding your ideal customer and sticking with that.
Yep.
Because and just like you, I would try to do absolutely everything just to, keep busy. And that's not where we want to be. We want to be able to really focus and like you said, focus in on those things that are the most profitable and the best for our business.
Right.
So one of the other things that one of the main reasons I see this question all the time, and people ask me all the time, and I don't generally have a good answer because I'm down in Savannah, Georgia, where our wash season is basically 12 years. We slow down, or 12 months a year.
Right.
We slow down a little bit between Thanksgiving and Christmas for obvious reasons. I think decorations, people are focused on other things, finances are allocated elsewhere. So we don't really have to work hard to figure out what we're going to be doing in the off season. It sounds like with the snow plowing and the snow blowing and things of that nature, you've got that covered. But you'd also mentioned gutter cleaning is something big that you can do during
gutter cleaning is big for us. In New England, we're in fall season right now, so my phone is lit up, and I'm trying to turn the washing off. It's hard to do because a lot of people jump in and they say, hey, well, I didn't get it done all summer and I don't want to look all winter. So can you do this for me?
Right.
Whatever. So gutter cleaning, yeah, it's a big thing around here. We can do this until it absolutely, snows, which would probably be the beginning of December. And then we switch into, doing some snow removal. But the idea really is to do so much work in the summertime when it's beautiful out.
Right. And when you got the kids home from school, right?
Kids home from school and you can get a little help, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'll do as much volume as you can that you can kind of coast through the winter. I mean, that's kind of the idea here.
Right.
Because even like gutter cleaning, we're going to be busy through November, maybe the beginning of December. But as soon as we have a foot of snow on the roof, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
And then with the snow, even it might not snow, but once or twice a month. Sometimes we get buried. We don't. Last year was a very mild winter, so we can't even really entirely count on that. So for the last couple, again, I've only been at this for 3 seasons, but what I'm trying to do in the wintertime is refocus on my business and say, where were the holes, what's my outline for next year, and work on my business plan, get my equipment in place, and start working on my mapping out who are my vendors going to be, etc.
Right.
And really take some time to focus on your business. Where can you spend your marketing dollars?
Yes. And that's what I wanted to ask you about next is with having the slower, downtime, I guess, during the off season, what are you doing to get that schedule full for the spring? Because I know from experience, when we're super busy, I kind of slack off a little bit as far as the marketing goes. And I know that I shouldn't, but sometimes we get complacent and, you have to be marketing all the time. Right. But
right.
My question is for you, what do you do differently during the winter, or do you do anything differently to get that schedule full for the spring?
So, again, it's only been a couple seasons, but what I came up with last season was, and a couple of guys that watch the channel are doing the same thing. We're calling it not an annual contract, because that kind of
Scares people off.
Right. It kind of scares people off a little bit. But, what I've done is I'm setting up annual agreements with people. So, we've got a nice, pretty deep client base now, things we've done for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I'm going through in the wintertime and I'm calling everybody that I've already done projects for. Hey, Mike, we washed your house last year. You were real happy with it. We're working on an annual agreement for you in the spring. We'd like to come out and do your gutters for you in the spring, wash your house for you in the spring, and then come back in the fall and do gutters for you again. So you have us for the entire season for X number. What I usually do is I take the cost of the house wash and the cost of the gutter cleaning, the one cleaning that I did, and hit that at about 80%. So the client gets a discount on both services, right? And then they get a third service, which is the gutter cleaning in the fall. And the advantage that I have in doing that is that, one, it boxes out my competition a little bit, because now they're getting even a better deal than they got from me in the first place, which was my market rate. And then they're getting me again. So they feel like, they are definitely getting another free service, but I'm now consistently maintaining the property so that my job is even easier. If I'm washing the house every single year instead of every third year, when the client realizes the house is dirty, now my job is harder. The chemical is harder. If I'm washing it every year, it's a real easy, light wash. If I'm doing the gutters twice a year, the first time I did it, which was last year, they were full of mud, whatever. Now, if I can come back in the spring and the fall, my gutter cleanings are, a piece of cake, and everybody's happy.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then the other thing I throw in there for them as a bonus is, if you happen to have your kid throw a tennis ball up there and it blocks the gutter, or a big branch falls on your roof, I'll come out and take care of that for you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and people eat it up, and they're like, and you're going to do that for how much? And then I'm like, sign me up. So now what I've done is I don't even know right now. I'll be doing this again with all the clients that I did this year, which I think were 350 or something right now. I'll be making all these phone calls. Hey, Mike, we washed your house last year. We're going to take care of you again. We're going to offer you this discount. And I'm probably going to wind up with about 100 clients on board for the spring. So now we have warm days in March. Like last year this year, I started washing on March 1st, then it snowed. I didn't get to wash again until the 15th. Then it snowed. And then I washed again on like the 25th. And then we took off through April. But having those annual clients in place allows me to, if I have a warm day in March or February, I can say, hey, Mike, it's going to be beautiful tomorrow. I'm going to come out and take care of your place. And I start to be able to grease the wheels to get the business going.
Right. And that you've created recurrent revenue, which is so genius. Like that's a brilliant idea.
Right.
We do something similar with our landscape maintenance business, put them on, and we don't say contracts either, because the contract's only as good as the paper it's written on, really.
Right.
But we have agreements too. And it locks them in. It keeps them there all year round. So you have a consistency to, at least what you're going to make, your baseline, which is important when you're running a business. So that's a great idea. I bet a lot of guys are going to try to take that and run with it.
I think they should. And, it kind of relates to every business that you do, any kind of sales business that you're in. Like once you've closed 1,000 clients, I know that that's a huge number for a lot of people. It might take you 3, 5, 10 years to get to that point. But if you're marketing to those clients consistently, and if you're any kind of halfway decent salesman, you ought to be able to convert 20 to 30% of those clients. So if you get if you got 1,000 people to go through, if you can't convert a couple hundred of them, to be reoccurring, never mind the new add-on business that you're going to have.
Right.
I think that now next year will be my 4th season. I think by the time I get to my 5th season, if I'm continuing to do this, I'm going to be forced to grow. Like I'm going to have to expand.
Right.
Or I'm going to have to stop asking for work, stop completely, because I'm going to be at capacity.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to be at. And then, there's all kinds of things that we can do as business owners to automate, to streamline, to make these interactions with customers automated. That's one of the big things that I talk about is, once we have somebody in our system, there is a string of emails throughout the year that we continually, and it's not spammy. It is, it's consistent, but it serves a purpose and it adds value. And that's, those are things that we can all do to kind of, take some of the burden off of us from the work aspect, which allows us to, grow and expand.
Right. And it keeps you top of mind, front of mind with the
Exactly.
also, because they forget, you forget, and then, then it's an emergency situation.
Yep. Exactly right. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on today. I know you're busy. You just finished your first job of the day and you're heading off to the next.
Yep.
But man, I appreciate it. And I think that just, man, you've added some great value to me and a bunch of other guys out there that are watching. And if you guys want more information and more great content like what Joe shared with us today, you definitely need to go over to his channel. Definitely hit that subscribe button, because this is a guy that I think not only does he have a lot of hustle, but he is a smart guy, and you can learn a lot. So Joe, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great day.
Thanks again, Mike.
Yeah, man, you got it.